describe tactically more, how are you delivering this program? How are you delivering these micro actions? Sometimes I call them micro missions into the field. How are you doing it?
We've done it several different ways. One of the things I love about Home Depot is we're willing to test and learn, especially in the learning and development space. And we've done everything from having a boutique LMS system outside of our standard system. Works great. But it is still one of those things that's not scalable. What we need to do and what we were looking to do is how do we create scalable solutions? We're not getting more resources. We're not getting more people. How do we make it to where we can actually deliver these micro tasking and micro learning to folks? We also, what are the obstacles we knew we were going to have? So this was a program that I worked with new enrolled directors. And in the program, they were going to have 6 months of this action learning, this on-the-job task. We knew that we couldn't scale out having a boutique learning management system, and we can't always have folks going to a third party or building that, maintaining that. The resources just, they're not there. So we tested and learned for several years. We were trying, what if we do this? What if we try this method? Let's do. What we learned is that if we leave it up to the learner to go and get their learning, to go and pick it up, to pick that book off the shelf and read it, you're going to have a handful of folks that will do it. You're going to have the vast majority of folks that aren't, because it's an extra step. We as learning professionals tend to put the burden on the learner. What we need to do is we need to remove the friction between the learning and the learner. How do we make that seamless for them? How do we make sure at their fingertips is exactly what they need to have? So we had to boil it down to what is the common denominator of something that every single one of our directors use. You know what the answer is? Email. They all check their email. So that is part of our culture. We are an email heavy culture, and we are, as part of our culture, very responsive to email. So the question then became, how do we use email as the manner in which we drive learning?
Love it.
I also have to think about the different methods and manners in which my associates work. I'm enterprise-wide. That means with these roles, I've got folks that are in the field, folks that are walking stores, walking warehouses. They're driving between point A to point B all day long. They are flying to visit different locations. They're sitting at a desk for an hour. Or there are corporate-based employees who they sit at a desk most of the day, but they're constantly in meetings. What is the one constant among all of them? Email. And so I looked at that and I said, well, how can we do this? Let's test and learn. So I had the opportunity, my leader gave me the opportunity to say, all right, just try and figure this out. What can you figure out? Go have fun. Don't break anything. Don't cost us any money. I was like, okay. So we always joke that our favorite price tag is free 99. That is our favorite cost, free 99. So what did we have at our fingertips that we could leverage to do that? And so looking around, researching, I realized that we had a Microsoft Office product that was part of our corporate package. And part of that was a platform called Power Automate. So what Power Automate does is it leverages mundane tasks and will automate them for you. You get an email, it can put it on a list, it can make a checklist for you. It takes a lot of the administration out of those mundane tasks. So the question I then had was, well, if the mundane task is sending an email, could I have a stock email to send? The answer was yes. So we were able to leverage Power Automate to where I was creating a whole list of emails, stock emails, where it would go in and it would pull from the list, Kevin, you're up for your action learning content. And it would send you an email and say, hey, Kevin, here's your action learning email. Click here for the link to the content you're supposed to do. You will be talking about this with your group next week. Well, then at the beginning of so they would do action learning for 2 weeks. And on the second week, they would get together as a group and discuss what they learned. So we really were driving the learning deeper by you and I getting together and saying, what did you learn from this task? What did you learn from that task? And we're multiplying the lessons learned because you're getting multiple perspectives on the task. And over time, you get closer with that group because you're with that entire cohort collectively to where you're starting to share more about what's going on in your world. You're helping one another and you're creating that collaboration across the enterprise that wasn't there before.
Mm-hmm.
So what we saw initially was when we first launched this program, we had folks going to a SharePoint site where they had to pick up their action learning for the week and then do it. Well, as I said before, there's only a certain number of folks that will actually go and pick it up. So when we looked at dropping it into their email, we set up a system to where on day one, you get an email that says, here is your action learning. Click here to complete it. We'll be talking about this next week. End of the week comes, and the Monday of the week that you're going to have your in-person session, you get a reminder email that says, hey, by the way, if you haven't completed your action learning, here it is. And as a reminder, you are set to have your conversation with your team on Thursday. Make sure you're ready to have the discussion. They go in on Thursday, they have the discussion. Friday morning, they get another email that says, great discussion. We're excited that you were able to do that. If you weren't able to attend, please reach out to one of your peers and get some notes. But here's your next action learning task. Click here. This is what you'll be working on until your next meeting. We then saw attendance jump because no one wants to walk into a meeting not knowing what's going to happen, especially when they were supposed to have homework completed. So by driving the learning through their email and nudging them, essentially reminding them that, hey, this is important. You can flag it however you decide to do it, but here's the work we need you to do. Here's what we need you to focus and think on this week. And we're going to talk about it. Then we've talked about it. Now here's your next thing that we're going to be doing. So all of these tasks that we do build on one another and allow you to focus on a set of behaviors and skills that prepare you for the end capstone.